and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, as we are going to be building up to the Champions League coming up here against Brest. Now, I was going to make a few jokes here about the team that we're facing, but honestly right now, there is no time for laughing because we have to talk a lot about the collapse that Barca had against Celta Vigo at the weekend. We're going to be talking a lot today about Hansi Flick's reaction to that, and what is he going to do in the starting lineup for this game. That's going to be really interesting. And we're also going to be looking, of course, at the predictions. Have some of the feelings changed within the Barca fan base? All of that is on the way today, guys. I hope that you're doing well here. Let's start the week in a positive way, and let's do it. Because if we do indeed kick off, guys, with an excellent super thanks coming in here, big thank you indeed to Abdul, who says, I guess the honeymoon phase is officially over. This is where we see the real work begin. We have to identify our bad tendencies and improve before it is too late. And I would say that is excellent analysis. That is what it feels like right now. We had an absolutely dream start under Hansi Flick. Let's be honest, guys, it was probably way better than any of us could have anticipated. But now, we're having a few tricky moments. We're having a few bumps along the way, which honestly, in a long season that we have here, that is kind of to be expected. You are going to have a few bumps in the road. What is important now is that we learn from the mistakes that we are making. And that means everybody. It means every single player. It means Hansi Flick as well and his coaching staff. And it basically means here, getting on to the next game and showing something. That was the big problem, in my opinion, with the game at the weekend there against Celta Vigo. After the loss against Real Sociedad, where we didn't play well, where we looked a bit tired there before the international break, the big problem for me was we came then back against Celta and we showed nothing. If anything, we may have even regressed further. So I think here, the wake-up calls, they are blaring. They are really coming in here for everybody. We must respond. And we must do it now. Because if we do look, guys, at some of that reaction after the drop points against Celta Vigo, because honestly, a lot has been said in the media here, and a lot was actually said in the direct aftermath of the game. Let's start with Gavi, because his words have really exploded in the media there. Now, it's worth mentioning that he faced the media straight after the game there, pitch side. He went over there to speak with them, and obviously, the emotions were high. Barca had just dropped points in the final moments of the game. A lot of feelings were going on, and he said the first goal we conceded was a joke. He said he has to clear the ball, talking about Jules Kounde. He said we have to learn. This is football, because this is what happens when you lose focus. And I think there, from Gavi's point of view, he had a very good game. He left absolutely everything out there, but of course he was only out there for 75 minutes. Now, he went off and everything kind of collapsed after that. So I think there was real frustration there in his words. A lot of people are saying, well, did he need to come out and say that? It's very similar, in my opinion, to the Gundogan Araujo situation from last season, whereby some things need to be said, some things here need to be pointed out, but of course in the public eye, there's always going to be controversy surrounding words like that. So Gavi there, obviously angry, obviously frustrated. It's what we were all feeling, and he came out and he said it. But I think by far and away the most important thing for me, speaking there about that Kounde mistake, highlighting that it was a very bad error. Let's be fair here. Let's actually give some credit to Kounde, because immediately after then, he came out himself. He fronted up to it, and he took full responsibility for that very big error. Because he said very honestly, I'm sure that without my mistake, we would have won today. He said, I did not have a good game from the start. There was a lack of concentration and I paid for it. It was a huge mistake and it's not acceptable. So obviously, guys, we're not going to get those points back. We can't correct here the mistake that happened. But at the end of the day, what we can say is, at least he took responsibility. At least he held his hands up and said, I made a mistake, and any player, anybody, is capable of making a mistake. But what I thought were even more interesting there were Hansi Flick's words after the game, because he didn't actually hide there behind one mistake from Kounde, one red card from Marc Asado, one individual error from any given player. He said the whole team, the whole performance, it wasn't good enough. He said it wasn't just about the last 10 minutes of the game. He said, I didn't like our whole performance. He said we played badly. For the entire 90 minutes, we made a lot of mistakes there. And again, I'm enjoying the fact, I'm really grateful for the fact that we're saying it here. We have to assess, we have to come out and outright say, that was nowhere near good enough. You know, it's no good brushing everything under the carpet, saying, oh, we were unlucky, few mistakes here, few mistakes there, oh, it's all going to be okay in the end. We've got to front up to what we're doing. We have to take that responsibility. And Flick went even further, actually. He was very, very critical of the performance. He said we made so many bad passes. We lost the ball so often. We made the wrong decisions at the wrong times. He says it's not about the red card. It's not about Jules' mistake. It's about the whole team. He said we win together, and now we lose together. And he actually said that, we lose together. And then he corrected himself. He said, okay, today we didn't lose. But I think for Hansi Flick and every single Barca player, and all of us fans, it felt like a loss. At the end of the day, the way we gave away that 2-goal lead, the way that we collapsed in those final minutes, we left the game feeling like we had lost it. But what Flick went on to say there at the very end of the press conference, he did say, we will come back. We will come back, definitely. And there is still a defiance here. There is still a state of calmness in Hansi Flick. Again, at no point in that press conference there did I see anything spill over, you know, anything really intruding on his emotions, on his feelings. He still stayed very, very calm, very calculated in his words. But in the dressing room, guys, and this is very important to point out, apparently Hansi Flick, he was furious. He was absolutely incandescent after the game there. He gathered all the players in the dressing room after the game, and I think the feeling was, remember the game against Espanyol, where again we saw in the second half there a complete drop-off. We saw the players really relax, and we very nearly threw that away. Remember against Espanyol, we were saying, oh, well, was that a one-off? You know, are we going to give the players the benefit of the doubt? And Flick did. But that was the problem, because after this game now, it's almost as though I gave you a chance. I gave you all an opportunity, and you did not take it. You did not bounce back in the way that I expected. You did not show me what I thought you would. And now you're going to feel my anger. Now it is time to get serious. And Flick apparently really did tell every single player. He really did tell them, this is not acceptable. To play at 80%, 70%, that won't fly here. So I think definitely in this game right here, guys, we will see a response. And I know we've been saying that now for several games. We've been waiting to see that kind of energy return to the team. That's what we're missing. The energy, the intensity, the hunger that we saw earlier on in the season. Maybe the players thought, we've done everything now. It's going to be easy for us. We can just coast our way through games. That's not how it is. You got here. You worked so well because you wanted it. You wanted it more. You worked harder. That has to come back. That has to come back now, right here, in the Champions League. However, guys, if I did have one lasting concern, really, from the game there against Celta Vigo, same for other games this season where we've fallen down, it has to be the full-back areas, and in particular, the left-back position. It really does worry me. It really, really does keep me up at night, because at the end of the day, guys, when Balde's not there, when he's not able to play through injury, through suspension, whatever it was, of course he wasn't quite ready to play at the weekend, that's a massive issue. That is a really, really big concern for the whole team. And thinking about the season, big games to come, important games to come, he's not going to be able to play every game. We need to find some sort of solution. And let me just say, Gerard Martin, he is definitely not the answer. For me, he should not be starting for FC Barcelona. He shouldn't be anywhere near that team out there. Let's be clear here. And I just hope now that Hansi Flick has seen that there. He took him off at half-time quite clearly. He wasn't happy with what Gerard Martin was showing. He wasn't really convinced by him. He was very, very worried, I'm sure, that he was going to get himself sent off. He should not be starting in this team whatsoever. Now, Hector Fort came on, and I admit he wasn't perfect. For the goal there that tied the game up, of course, he was beaten. There was more players there that were at fault as well for that goal too. It wasn't just him, but of course, it's going to take time for him. But what I would like to ultimately see, just give him more chances. At the end of the day, there's more talent, there's more potential in there, for sure, than there is with Gerard Martin. At least with Hector Fort, there's a chance that it goes somewhere. There's a chance here that he can step up and improve and show some better quality. With Gerard Martin, he's not even that young. You know, he's not a youngster in this team. He is literally going to go nowhere, and I just don't think anymore that he should be being deployed in this lineup. And I think maybe after this game, Flick has got that message now. The feeling that we're having in the media is that Fort now could be ahead of Gerard Martin in the pecking order, and maybe it's taken longer than it should have to get to that conclusion. But anyway, guys, right here, coming up on Tuesday, it is Barca against Brest in the Champions League. Now, in the table, as you can see right here, Brest, cannot be underestimated under any circumstances. They are 4th in the Champions League table. Barca right there, they are in 6th place. Now, what I would say, and not to take anything at all away from Brest, is that they've had some very nice games in the Champions League. I think they've really capitalised on the early fixtures that they have had. For instance, there, they got a win over Sturm Graz. They also beat Salzburg. They got a very good draw against Leverkusen, and recently they beat Sparta Prague. So obviously they haven't faced too many big hitters, but they have delivered so far. And what is interesting, though, is that they are coming into this game with back-to-back losses. They are not exactly high on confidence, doing so well right now, maybe in the same sort of way that Barca are. They are 12th in Liga, and is that a more fair representation of the level that they are at? So Barca, for me, in this game, yes, Brest have done very well in the Champions League so far, but we have to win this game, and we should be winning this game. We want to see a statement in the Champions League. We've played very, very well in this competition, and we simply must keep that going by, for me, fielding a strong team. But here's the thing, guys, because in terms of the lineup there, I would absolutely love again to see Gavi in there. I would absolutely love to start him in this game because of how good he was against Celta. One of the best players on the field there, brings everything we need right now, but I wouldn't start him in this game. And the reason for that is, do you think it's too much of a risk there to start him twice in the space of 3 days or so? You know, that is a short space of time here to put him back into the lineup for another game. We have to be very, very careful with him. And for that reason, I'm not quite sure that he is going to start again. But certainly he will have an influence on this game whenever he plays. But let's start here with the very best backline that we can. You know, we wanted to see that against Celta. We wanted to see that very solid base. We couldn't see it, but Balde should be fine to start again and really complete that back four. That's very, very important. Now, in midfield, Marc Casado definitely should play, given that he can't play at the weekend through suspension. So I would go there with Casado alongside Pedri, because in my opinion there, guys, what we have to sort out is the attacking third of our team too. Because against Celta, we saw Raphinha moved over to the right-hand side. We saw Dani Olmo over on the left. Now, Olmo didn't really like it out there. You know, you want to see him central, close to Lewandowski, making all of those good runs in the middle of the field. So for me, let's try and do whatever we can to keep Raphinha and Olmo at their absolute peak. So play Olmo central, play Raphinha from the left, play Lewandowski ahead of them. You've got all of those players there in their peak positions, and then somebody has to go on the right-hand side. There is still no Lamine Yamal. It's a massive, massive hindrance on this team not to have him, but he's still not available. So the outside pick for me, just so you can keep Olmo there, just so you can keep Raphinha there, why don't we play somebody like Pau Victor? At the end of the day, just play anybody who can sort of play in that wide role. We've seen Fermin tried there. Could Pablo Torre play there? We could see that. But Pau Victor in pre-season, he played excellently on this right side. He made some really clever runs. He actually linked up with Lewandowski. They combined very, very well. And why not play him there? Simply because you can then get the best out of Olmo. You can get the best out of Raphinha. I would rather there play somebody like Pau Victor than have to reshuffle that entire attacking part of our team there. Let's stick to what's been working. That midfield with Casado and Pedri has been so good. Olmo, Raphinha, Lewandowski, they've all been incredible. That back line, we know what it can do. Let's not change too much here. Let's make sure that we're giving the players the best conditions to succeed, and that is how I would line up. But indeed, guys, in terms of the predictions right here, I think it's safe to say the mood has changed a little bit here. Coming up against this opposition in the Champions League, a few weeks ago, you would have seen most people thinking Barca are going to win by 3, 4, 5 goals maybe. That's what we would have seen. Today, though, it's a slender margin. You know, we're thinking, are we going to win by 1? Are we going to win by 2? There's a few people as well thinking it could even be a draw. It could be a win for Brest in this game. Now, for me, I think we'll win. I think we will see some sort of a response from Barca, and I'm actually going to go Barca 3, Brest 0. I'm going to go with a big win. I really am here. Without Yamal, we're going to need to find solutions once again. But I think once we do get going, you've got the fans behind us as well. You've got players in this team who can still make a real impact. Raphinha is still playing very, very well. Almost centrally can still give you an awful lot. And Lewandowski, he loves scoring goals in this competition. So for me, guys, I'm going to go with a 3-0 win. Let me know in the comments down below what your predictions are. How would you line up? What would you do in this game to really revitalise this Barca lineup? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you after the game for what I hope will be a more enjoyable and more exciting match review, guys. Thank you indeed for watching here today. Let's hope for a response. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.